Yay, it's 4.5. I don't know, what are we looking at? Step 3, maybe? 4.5, step 4, make a Hood's Web. Okay, Hood's Web, I call it that because it comes from this dude named Richard Hood, who is a crazy good IB teacher based in Toronto. He teaches at a private all-boys school. Sounds awful to me, but at any rate, he knows what he's talking about. And so he created this technique to try to help us look at how different authorial choices work together. Think about how a web works. A spider weaves it with just one strand at a time, right? And each strand then is attached to prior strands, and they all work together to be interwoven together to create a home for the spider that he can live on and trap his food on. So when you're thinking of how a poem means, use this analogy of the spider in your mind because it's similar. We have different choices that the poet made, and these different choices work together to create a larger meaning. And so when I say how the poem means, it's all about how the authorial choices shape meaning. And we can pick out one at a time, but of course they all work in conjunction with each other when we're reading a poem. All right, so I have a sample here on the sonnet, A Silken Tent, which is in your packet. And so you can take a moment to find Silken Tent if you like, and pause the video. Here is the Silken Tent. And if you remember, we talked about how this is an English sonnet and follows the form of an English sonnet exactly with the A, B, A, B, C, D, C, D, E, F, E, F, G, G rhyme scheme. And that the poem makes 3 points in the separate, in the quatrains, the 4-line segments that rhyme with each other, and then kind of a twist at the end in the couplet. We also talked about how the poem is structured in just one sentence that stretches over 14 lines. It's not syntactically incorrect. It is a correctly constructed sentence, but it is very long. Okay, so that was just a reminder of the poem. Now, if we take a look at Hood's Web, what we're going to do is move from box to box, completing it. The first box in the top left is about punctuation and syntax. So this is what we just talked about. And the effects there are, you know, that we feel how the woman feels stretched over these 14 lines, almost to the breaking point. Something that connects is down here in stanza line breaks. So let's move to that one next. In stanza line breaks, we've got this is an English sonnet, follows exactly with this rhyme scheme and iambic pentameter lines, yada, yada, yada. The effects here are that the strict adherence to form creates a feeling of structure and order. You might also say a feeling of, sureness and stability. I'm messing with the wrong stuff here, everybody. Okay. And so it's not letting me extend the page right this second. Here we go. Finally. Sorry. The rhyme and iambic pentameter create a feeling of sureness and harmony. So we have that other aspect, the fact that this long sentence is stretched over 14 lines. And those two things work together to create this sort of sense of harmony and sureness, but it's awfully stretched, almost maybe to the breaking point, as is hinted in the end. Okay, Moving on, we've got down here we've got sensory details. Up here in the top right corner, we've got comparative imagery. In this poem, it's a huge comparison, right? It's an extended simile. And so the whole poem is one giant comparison between the silken tent and the woman. Sensory details here, repetition here, atmosphere and mood, specific choices of diction and their effects. This one is usually the box that's the least filled. This is classical references and allusions. And here it's the reference to heavenward. And I put that in there just because, well, it's kind of a cultural reference, because that is heaven is the name of the place where good people spend eternity, according to Western culture and Christianity. So anyway, I think the most important thing to look at, and use all of these as examples, and feel free to take the kind of language and structure of my lines as you work on your poem. But I think the most important thing here is looking at the fact that we have to identify these authorial choices, but then we also have to analyze their effects. Each box has the word effects in it, doesn't it? And that is crucial to our work, because we have to interpret, evaluate, and analyze. And evaluate is really looking at the effects of each individual choice. Okay, and then in the middle, this is what you do last. How do these aspects, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 aspects, coalesce into a single idea? How did they come together to make a point about meaning? Use the guiding question to help you. You're going to want to look for a point about communication in your poem, or whatever the guiding question asks. Here's what I came up with. The speaker extols the virtues of the woman that he compares to a silken tent as being strong, sure, and elegant, while also referencing the bondage that is required to make her this way, hinting at a negative, oppressive side to her status. What do you think? That works, huh? And I think I could support that with these different authorial choices. Have fun building your own Hood's Web, and let me know how I can help. As always, take care, y'all. How about that 8:05?